All right, folks, this summer, personal spending outpaced personal income, right? Look at these summer months, June, July, August. You can see the orange bar greater than the blue bar. People were out there spending, and then something changed. We just found out in September the script was flipped. All right. Now, over the same period of time, we also heard the phrase affordability crisis, right? We keep hearing it's topic number one in mainstream media. And now many are saying that the cost of living is the worst they've ever seen. I got to bring in Bianco Research President Jim Bianco. Now, Jim, maybe they should say the cost of keeping up with the Joneses is the worst it's ever been, but the cost of living, your thoughts on this, because you've talked about this a lot.
Yeah, I don't think they're wrong for the following reason. I think they're answering a different question. Over the last 5 years, CPI has had a cumulative increase of 27%. That is the biggest cumulative increase in 45 years. I think when they look at prices in the store, they're thinking about what could I buy a year ago, what could I buy 3 years ago, what could I buy 5 years ago, and what can I buy today? And the other thing that's happening is the average wage has not kept up. It is not up 27%. So I think that that's the number that they're really focused on when they talk about affordability, or in economics terms, we're talking about the level of prices, not the rate of change.
Right. And of course, in this one particular poll, we do see a little bit more on the Democrat side than Republican side. And that stuff always plays out in these things. But, the affordability crisis, though, is always kind of discussed through the lens of prices. Right. Listen, you just brought up wages. If we look at it that way, there is something of a conundrum, right? We do know that wage growth has slowed dramatically. How do you get that wage growth and still a slower increase of CPI? Now, listen, to your point, that CPI spike came during COVID, and we've never been able to recover from it.
That's right. I mean, the way you want to fix that is you'd want to have very low levels of CPI inflation, like 1.5%, like we had prior to 2020 for a period of years. The problem is, we had the 9% rate rise of CPI in 2022, and here we are at the end of 2025, and core inflation is still 3%. We're nowhere near getting it to 2, let alone way under 2. So when the public is upset about affordability, what they really want is they want prices to go down. Well, they're not going to go down. We're not going to see lower prices. That would be bad for our economy. But what we really need is like 1% inflation for a couple of years, so that then they get their raises and then everything could catch up. But here we are again, I can't emphasize enough, we're 5 years past COVID and we're nowhere near 1%. And I think that that's really where the anger is setting in. This is just not happening for them.
Now, here's the problem, though. When the Fed sees wages going up too much, they take action. They start to try to curb the economy. And it feels like a conundrum from Main Street. So if you get a raise and if it's too much, then someone on the other end who pulling these strings are going to try to make life more difficult for you. I know you have been against cutting rates, or you think it might be a mistake. Earlier today, Chris Lowe thought it was the exact medicine that we need. Where are you now on that?
Oh, I still think that it's a mistake to cut rates, because I look at the stock market, I look at the upper half of the K, what the higher income earners are doing, the amount of spending that they're doing, and that level of the economy is okay. The Fed works through the financial channel. It's a fancy way of saying they lower interest rates, they spur the higher end to kind of move along, expand their businesses, and then that helps the lower end. They don't need that help. And what I'm afraid of is they're just going to push the stock market higher. I'm all for that. I'm in stocks. But then that's just going to leave inflation. Let's
pick up on this next time, because I want to ask you about these small businesses, which look like a disaster. Jim, have a great weekend, my friend. And Liz Clayman.